welcome back to another episode of Maintenance with Mike. So today we're actually outside of the garage, changing our winter tires back over to our all seasons, which is the summer wheel for us. This obviously would work for many applications. Got some pro tips on making sure that you rotate them as well with a piece of chalk. I will show you how to mark those when I take them off, or how I keep track of them anyway. A couple things you're going to need. You're going to need a torque wrench. The manufacturer specifications for this particular Toyota 4Runner is 90 foot-pounds for the wheel lugs, and I like to loosen them partly with the torque wrench and then spin them off with a battery-powered impact. You can use air as well, but a lot of people don't have air impacts at their disposal. So anyway, big day today, getting the tires changed and rotated here. I'll give you some pro tips as we move along, and let's get started. So before you jack up the vehicle, it makes it easier if you turn the lug nut at least one turn, just to slightly loosen it. Otherwise the tire tries to spin on you. So you might need one of these as well. This is a key lock for one of the lug nuts on this particular vehicle. Has a special key that typically the manufacturers put them in the glove box. So I mean, yeah, if you need that, it goes on one of the lug nuts, and in the proper socket, your 1/2 inch torque wrench, and you're just going to loosen it. That's enough right there. So that's sort of finger tight now. And what we'll do is we'll just crack all of these. There, so they're partly loose now. So the next step is to check the manufacturer's specification for your particular vehicle, where to place a jack. So we're going to, I'll show you from underneath here, but on this particular vehicle it's up front on a frame rail. So we'll place the jack under there, lift the vehicle up, put a jack stand. Never rely on the hydraulics of a jack, they could fail. So you want a static stand placed right beside it. So if the jack was to lose hydraulic pressure over time, it'll just fall onto that static stand. What I do is I jack it up, put the static stand underneath the frame rail, and then loosen the jack off a little bit, just so some of the weight's on the static stand as well, just for safety. So anyway, let's get to the next step here. So as you can see here, we've got the front wheel off the ground now, and this is why we loosen the lug nuts first, is because if you were to try to loosen these while it's lifted, all it's going to do is spin on you. So let's grab a jack stand. This is what I'm referring to when I say a static jack stand. So let's place that under the vehicle frame, just in case the hydraulic jack wants to come down. For safety. Okay, now we can finish taking these off. Now, you don't have to, you can spin these off by hand if you don't even have a battery powered drill. Yeah, it just takes a bit longer, but no biggie. So here's your first pro tip. When you take the wheel off, you'll want to mark the location of the tire as if you were sitting in the driver's seat facing out of the vehicle. When manufacturers refer to left front, this is left front. Driver's side, sitting in the vehicle, left front. So when we take this off, let's come down a bit here. When we pull this wheel off, we want to identify where it came from. Again, this is on the left front, so we're actually going to erase the mark that we had there before. And right inside here, we're going to mark L, F, left front with a piece of chalk. Put these away for the summertime. When you go back out to grab the tire to put it on in the winter, this now goes to left rear. So you're rotating the left side front to back. So we've marked it. In my case, I like to mark where it came from so that when I go to put them back on, I know I have to move it. So left front, we mark it, set this one aside. And here's the new wheel, the summer wheel. And if we look on the inside, you'll see this was marked LR. So this was on the left rear. So now we're putting it on the left front. We're rotating it from the back to the front so we can drive for the summer with these wheels rotated. So this one goes on this position. But let's check a couple things while we're in here. So what we want to look for generally is things that are wet. Is there any wet spots of something leaking? Moisture? You're definitely going to always see a little bit of moisture around the drive shaft for the four-wheel drive boot, which, you know, that's just from oil being on the boot itself. Could possibly be a little bit of a leak, but I don't see anything drastic there. When we look in here at the actual caliper, this is the caliper. Here are the pistons that push the brake shoe onto the rotor. So this is your rotor. This is your stopping material in this section here, and this is the metal part of the pad. So if we look at this one, there's still a fair amount of stopping material. You can still see the indent there on the pad. So there's a good 1/4 inch of pad left on both these shoes. So these are fine. I don't see any moisture, which would mean a hydraulic fluid leak or anything like that. The rotors don't have any scoring. They're smooth. Those are the things we want to look for. This looks good. Let's put this wheel on. Heavy. It will go on. So we just take the nuts now. And just hand tighten them. Okay, so it's time to remove the jack now that we've. Can you hear that? Just slight dragging noise. That's just the brake pads sitting on the rotor. You should have a similar sound to this. If you go to rotate the wheel and you do this and you push it harder and it only goes this far, you may have a braking issue where the caliper is not releasing the pad properly. And if you know how to do that yourself, you could look at that. If not, make sure you take it to somebody, because that much pressure on the rotor is just going to heat up the caliper and increase the problem over time. For whatever reason, it's dragging. So you want some dragging, but you don't want it to be. When you spin it, if it only turns like that much, it should do a couple turns, right, on its own. So there we have it. Let's pull the jack out. Pull our static jack stand out. Lower the wheels slowly. Okay, we're down now. Now we get our torque wrench. And as you can see on the torque wrench, there is foot-pounds on this side of it. I don't know if you can see that. And Newton meters marked on all torque wrenches. This manual indicates 90 foot-pounds. So you want to set this to the 90 and 0. Double check it. Foot-pounds, 90. So 90 foot-pounds in Newton meters is actually, looks like around 28 Newton meters. No, sorry, 128 Newton meters. So make sure you're using the right scale. Most manufacturers list their wheel nuts as foot-pounds. So 90 foot-pounds is what this manufacturer recommends. You hear that click? That's 90 foot-pounds. And we do a cross. Back to this side. Down to this side. To this side. And then just work yourself all the way around checking them. What I like to do is put the key on, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll start at the top here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, after you've tightened all the wheel nuts as per the specified torque, once we change all the tires, take it out for a quick drive, 10-15 minutes, come back home, and just recheck these again with the torque wrench, just to make sure nothing's loosened up partially on the test drive. So let's that's the driver's side front, which we call left front, from sitting in the driving position. So left front is done. Let's move to the back. So now, as we move to the rear of the vehicle to change the what we call left rear here, there's a safety concern that's inherent to vehicles with emergency brakes on the rear. So as we take the jack and stick it under the rear differential, which is, this has a solid axle, and I'll show you that, and we jack that up, it lifts the whole rear end up, both wheels on both sides of the rear. The problem with that is that's where the emergency brake holds the vehicle from moving. Yes, it is in park as well, but a good pro tip here is put a block underneath the front wheels. If anything was to fail, it won't roll forward now. because you're lifting the emergency brake, basically putting it in the air, nothing to hold the vehicle back. So block the front wheels and then crack these nuts and let's get going. For safety. Okay, let's loosen. Let's loosen these ones off now. See the problem there? We've lifted it up. That's what I was trying to explain in the front. Makes it very difficult to do this, so let's drop the jack down a little bit just so the tire makes contact with the ground. Loosen each one off. There we go. Now we can lift it back up again. Another chalk. Spin these off. Pull the wheel off. Let's mark this one. This was left rear. And here's our wheel to go on the rear. And it was marked. It was originally marked left front. So we just wipe the chalk off. Makes it quite easy. And we're gonna write on here left rear. L-R. Just like that with a piece of chalk. Let's put this wheel on. Oh, we almost forgot a step, didn't we? That's right. We need to get the little camera and check the brake pads. So this is the rear caliper. Again, we checked the rotor. Nice and smooth. Don't see any issues with that there. Looks good. And we're going to move in here and we're going to look through this little inspection plate here, and you can see this is the rotor. This is the outer part of the brake pad. This section in here, which is quite a bit of pad, that's the rear brake. You'll see there's lots of pad on the outside and on the inside. There's two brake pads, one here and one here, and they squeeze the rotor together. They squeeze on the rotor and make friction on the rotor to stop the vehicle. So lots of pad here, lots of pad here. I don't see any signs of moisture or leaking or anything like that. Everything looks good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, that's another pass. So let's put the new wheel back on. Those are heavy. Okay, so we just do hand tight to hold it on. Don't fall off there now. Okay, so we can let the vehicle down now. So we remove the jack stand. Now we don't have to take the jack out because we're using it for the same wheel or same tire on the other side. So we just want to set it down like that so we can tighten. These. For all my returning viewers, you'll notice still I haven't made the time to go to Canadian Tire to exchange my ratchet since I did the work on the tractor. Yeah, so 1/2-inch drive ratchet, that's the Pro Mastercraft. I don't know what's with them, but this is the third one that I've had fail where this basically seizes up and doesn't do anything. There we go. It's a little better. Now we go around and check the proper torque. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. So that's the driver's side done, which we call the left front and left rear. So let's same application for the other side. So I mean that basically explains how to rotate or change your tires. If you're not changing from winters to all seasons like we have to do here, you should just rotate your tires every 10,000 kilometers, I think is what's specified. And that's just basically the back one to the front one to the back. And same principles apply here. You're not changing to a different set of wheels, but you have to move them. Check the calipers, no moisture. Check the brake pads, make sure there's lots of brake pad. Spin the wheel, check for a decent amount of drag, but not too much. Too much drag would indicate a caliper problem that's seizing onto the rotor, or corrosion on the rotor or something like that. But so that's basically it. Last step is to check the tire pressure while we're at it on this side for these two, and I'll quickly show you in here. So we're inside the driver's side door right now, and there's a lot of information here that you can see. So cold tire pressure, P265, 65R17, which are these? There's front and rear. 32 psi for the front and 32 psi for the rear. Okay, so last step is checking the tire pressure. We're looking for 32 as per the door. 32, bang on. So that's what we're looking for. 32 psi. So that's it. That's changing from winter tires to summer, or all seasons in this case. Or you could use this video as well for rotating your tires every 10,000 kilometers, just to make sure the shoulders don't get worn. I hope you find this video helpful. If you do, please like our channel. Maybe consider subscribing to our channel. Share these videos with your friends and family members if you find them helpful. And you'll get updates if you subscribe to our channel on any new videos that we post on maintenance items or projects that we have going on here. Anyway, thanks again for watching Maintenance with Mike. Take care. Cheers.